What you are looking at is the world's first contoured carbon fiber laptop, and it's made by a brand which some of you might fondly remember. This is the Vaio Z, and it will turn heads for all kinds of reasons. It's been quite a number of years now, and Vaio, if you didn't know, used to be under Sony, and back in those days, Vaio is actually a really popular choice for laptops. I used to own one myself and it's really good. But over the years, it kind of faded into obscurity and then went silent for a few years, and eventually it got sold off. But now, Vaio is back and it's now an independent company, and well, they are making laptops once again. So what is it about the Vaio Z and what makes it so special? This laptop has a chassis that's made entirely of carbon fiber. Carbon fiber in itself is about 2 times stronger than magnesium or aluminium, which is more commonly used in most other laptops. Not only that, but depending on how the carbon fiber itself is weaved, it can result in different strength levels. And of course, it's much lighter. Thus, you get this look and finish that can really only be found on this laptop. Here we have the classic black colorway, and while not as distinct as their signature black, it will still turn heads for sure, but for all kinds of reasons. To be honest, I feel that the design, the texture, the finish, all of that can still be slightly refined. As you can tell, there are many crevices, lines and overlaps on various parts of the chassis, and the main reason for that is because of the inherent nature of carbon fiber. In a way, it does look unique, but for lack of a better word, it also looks kind of cheap. Simply because laptops that are made primarily out of plastic feature a really similar construction where you can clearly see the seams between different parts of plastics, just like you do here. Even when you take a look at the sides, the lines and contours don't really inspire, and when you flip it to the bottom, well, the screws are all in plain sight and are all irregularly positioned. Although the laptop does actually feel really good to the touch, that carbon fiber is kind of unique, but unfortunately, it doesn't really look the part. It falls kind of short. I do, however, actually like the design of the corners of the hinge. It has a dark copper colored accent piece, and it's kind of mimicking the tail lights or the fenders of a high-end sports car. It gives the laptop a slightly more unique frame. This is one part of the design that I actually really like. Now, if you open the laptop up, you of course get a 14-inch display, and it sports a 4K resolution. It's IPS, good color accuracy, all those good stuff. It's basically great for general browsing, video consumption, light gaming, all of that. But it doesn't have touchscreen support, and it doesn't really get all that bright. Now, normally I wouldn't have minded, but guess how much the Vaio Z is going for? In Singapore, we only have the top-end Signature Edition available, and the only difference between that model and the one that I have here is the CPU. Now, that model is going to cost you just under 6,000 Singapore dollars. In the US, if you're looking at the exact same Signature Edition, it will cost you roughly 4,200 US dollars. Now, that's quite the amount of cash. Now, if you're in the US, there are various SKUs available, and the most affordable option would be the Core i5 variant with 16GB of RAM and a 512GB SSD. That option will set you back about 2,400 US dollars. So there are a few options available for you if you're in the US, but for now, let's get back to our model at hand, and with that price in mind, let's talk about the rest of the features. Up top, you do of course get a webcam, and it's actually a full HD webcam compared to most other laptops that only have a HD webcam. But as you can tell, the image quality isn't saying miles better. It's in fact comparable to those other laptops, but it is there and it does work. It also supports Windows Hello facial recognition, and if you want to, there's also a privacy shutter, so you can just close it up if you want to. The keyboard is pretty much par for the course. Key travel is good, feedback is decent enough, and you get white backlighting as well. The power button has its own dedicated corner and features a fingerprint scanner which automatically scans the moment the power button is pressed, making for quite quick logins. The trackpad is also smooth to the touch and does feature dedicated left and right buttons. As for ports, you get 2 Type-C Thunderbolt 4 ports on either side, as well as HDMI and your trusty 3.5mm combo jack. As for the specs, you'll get an Intel Core i7-11370H, 32GB of LPDDR4X RAM, and 2TB of PCIe SSD Gen 4 storage. Thus far, everything is basically par for the course, and the entire package that you get with this laptop is quite comparable to other laptops that are similar in this kind of category. But when you remember the price tag, par for the course isn't gonna cut it. Despite the use of carbon fiber throughout, it really doesn't look premium enough to match the price tag that it's commanding. To be very frank, the Surface laptop, a MacBook Pro, or the XPS looks and feel much more premium than the Vaio Z, and those laptops can be had for almost half the price of this configuration. Even if you compare the base configuration, you can get a MacBook Pro 13-inch with the M1 chip with the same amount of RAM and storage for less. And yes, while that Intel Core i7-11370H performs rather great, scoring high points in Cinebench and can actually also do light gaming rather well in games like CSGO and Genshin Impact, that same chip can be found in laptops costing much less. Which basically means you're paying a premium for the Vaio Z just because of the design and the materials used alone. Which begs the question, why does this even exist? Why is this even available? Well, in my personal opinion, this is a proof of concept. This is a showpiece. Vaio has probably invested quite a bit into doing this 3-dimensional molded carbon, pursuing something that no one has ever done before, and they did it. This is the result. A laptop unlike any other. The use of the material, all that R&D, and the fact that this laptop is the first of its kind in its construction is the main reason for the premium price. If you're looking at this laptop, you aren't really comparing performance, you aren't really comparing features, none of that stuff. All that you're really looking for is something unique, and in that regard, the Vaio Z does deliver. But if you were to ask me whether I like this laptop, well, honestly speaking, I would say not really. But then again, I'm more of a practical kind of guy. But what I do definitely like is how Vaio is approaching this whole kind of premium laptop concept. They're the ones that are willing to do things differently. They're the ones that are willing to try different materials, try and push the boundaries of what they can do with materials like carbon fiber, design, so on and so forth. In this world where most laptops kind of are going towards the same trend, looking kind of similar to one another, even though the Vaio Z doesn't really make sense on paper, it's something to take note of. In that regard, I like Vaio in itself. Not this laptop, but Vaio as a whole. So that's our take on the Vaio Z. But what about yours? Let us know in the comment section down below. And if you want to, do check out the affiliate links in the description. If you do, thanks for your support. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Till the next one. See ya!